Everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another airbrush review. We're looking at the next Gaahleri that's been sent out to me. We've got the advanced series and it is the Gaahleri airbrush. Same packaging as yesterday on the Gaahleri brushes. Nice packaging. You get the outer sleeve and you slide that away, and then you get the nice crisp black box with the Gaahleri logo to the front, as you can see there in like the silver. Take the lid off, and then exactly the same as yesterday, you get the quick start guide inside. This is basically a guide to show you how you can put the brush together, troubleshooting and things like that. So if you come across any problems, grab this out of your box and it'll sort of put you right. So they're handy to have in the box. Then you get a spray test piece, and this basically shows you that they've tested this, and it shows you the spray pattern, so you get that in the box as well. Underneath that you get a little bit of foam protecting the brush and the pieces inside the box, and then inside there you get the bits for the brush. Now the first thing you'll see is a little bag, and you've got a couple of Teflon washers. Now these Teflon washers, I'll show you where these go when we do the breakdown of the brush in a minute. And you get two little O-rings as well, so you get that in there. And then you've got the brush itself. You get two cups with this. You get a bigger cup and a smaller one. You've got the brush. You've got some of the Gaahleri lube inside, which is handy to put on the back of the trigger, on the needle and things like that. You've got another needle and nozzle setup, so you get two with this brush. You get a 0.35, I do believe, and a 0.5. So two needle and nozzle combos in there. The brush itself, you get a little protective plug that goes to the front. That just comes off, and then you've got your crown cap, which you can take them off. Top of the brush there where you put your cup, inside there you've got a white Teflon washer that seals the brush to the actual cup. Now yesterday when I did the 68, the cups were a little bit loose on the thread when you were screwing these in, and these are the same cups across the two airbrushes. So we're just going to try this now in the actual brush, and it's the same, guys. You get that little bit of looseness until you start tightening it right up. Just feels a little bit loose. Tighten that up. Once you're nipped up, you're good to go. So that's the brush. You've got a cutaway to the back here. These cutaways are good if you want to quickly sort of blast through. You can just pull back on the chuck and it pulls back on the needle like that. You've got a trigger adjuster here at the back, so this will dial in your sort of paint flow. If you wind this all the way in, that stops the trigger, and then when you start to wind this out, you get your movement in the trigger. I always tend to like to work with these fully open, so I've got full adjustment of the trigger like that. Quick connect to the bottom, that comes with the brush as well. Nice chrome finish. To this side you've got the Gaahleri logo sort of laser engraved into the side of the brush, and that says Gaahleri Advanced Gaahleri on the side. Cups come with the caps to the top. These fit quite nice. Just push these on. You get the same sort of lid on both cups. So that's basically the brush. Nice and simple. Build quality feels better on this brush, not so grainy as the 68 yesterday, so it feels a little bit better. Quite weighty to the hand, so it does feel quite solid when you're holding it. So what we'll do is move the camera over, get some paper, chuck some paint down it, and we'll see what this spray's like. Right guys, we are going to hook this up to the airline. Take your protective rubber cap off the front. We are running 25 PSI on the main line, and then I can dial this in on the Mac valve like that, and we can run it at low pressure, see what it's like. Now I've got a grey mix in here of some Createx illustration, so we're going to drop that in the brush. Little drop in there. like that. Drop the cap on. I'm just going to pull this through with 25 psi. And we're just going to do some, get a feel of the brush, do some dots for a start, then we'll do some lines. So response on the trigger is really good. Consistent, if that's picking that up with this grey mix, that it's consistent on the dots, and that's getting down really small on that. So the dot test, nice. Atomization, that's nice on that. It's probably wetting up slightly because of this paper, but really nice. Full back on the trigger, so it can get the paint down. I'm going to dial this in because it's wetting up slightly. Just bring that pressure down. That's probably about 20 psi, and I'm going to take the crown cap off as well, and we're going to get some real hairlines down. Gets super fine down, guys, as you can see, and you can hit that quite easily on that trigger. Consistent on the lines. It's a very nice trigger on this. I can't fault that for getting down. That PSI running at 20 on this is absolutely perfect with the illustration. Probably go down a little bit more. Yeah, as you can see, super fine with, yeah, ease, guys. It just does it easy. This, to me, is a very nice trigger. Comfortable on the top. So it'll get you down you can see how small them little dagger strokes are there. So nice at low pressure with the 0.35, consistent spray pattern. Give that a little bit more paint on the consistency. Yeah, it's absolutely consistent, guys, spot on. Really nice atomization, gets super fine down on tiny little dagger strokes like that. Runs nice on low pressure, and then you can crank it up if you want to get some paint, some wider strokes. Absolutely atomizes fine, guys. Nice, comfortable. The trigger, to get them super fine, you will find that sweet spot when you sort of pull back. You've got a little bit. No, it's absolutely spot on. You can see them tiny little dots? Yeah, the trigger's on point. Absolutely on point. Look at that. Look how small them dots are on that. I don't think you need to be getting down any finer than that. That's light. Look at how small them dots are. That's just touching the trigger. Nice trigger. The tension on that trigger is done right up and it still feels soft to me. So yeah, get seriously down. If you need to be putting them tiny little dot highlights, this brush will achieve it. This is with the Createx illustration as well, so you've got a decent paint running through this. If you was to put a thicker paint through this, I think it's going to struggle. I don't think it will like it. Get your paint consistency right. So that's the 0.35, absolutely nails it down on tiny little dots, consistent lines. As you see, there's no breakups in that. Really nice consistent lines. Good bit of paint coverage. If you want to get a bit of background down with this, not a problem. So we'll clean this through and we'll drop the 0.5mm. I'll show you how to change the needle and nozzle setup in this brush. Take the back off like that, drop that to one side, undo your chuck at the back, slide your 0.35 out and then get your new needle. These come with a protective little cap over the end. Slide that out and then you can take the front end of the brush off like that. Now this is what I mean by the Teflon washer. If you can see that there, you get your little white Teflon washer. That's what you get spare in that bag. So you get two of them, and then there is a little seal around this thread here. That's the little sort of washer you get, the green looking one. You get two of them spare as well. So you'll get your little pot that has your new 0.5 setup in it. Screw that to the front like that. Just nip that up hand tight. Get your new needle, drop that in the back, locate that to the front. You'll just see the needle pop out the front like that. Little bit of tension on the back and then just nip your chuck up. Put the back piece on and that's your 0.5 needle and nozzle setup. Excuse the noise, it started raining. I'm going to leave the crown cap off, drop a little bit more of the paint mix in like that. Hook the airline up, pull this through, and now we're set up with the 0.5. So I'll do the same again, do some dots. That just spider webbed out because this paint is thin. Do some lines. So exactly the same, atomizes, really nice. That's really throwing it down outside now. We'll dial the pressure in. And the 0.5 again. Get super down, guys, for a 0.5. You see them little dots. .035 will get down a lot easier than this, but that's not bad on dots for a 0.5. Atomizes, as you see, the atomization on this brush, really nice. You can get a nice soft fade with that. and it will hammer the paint down if you need it to. Drop that pressure down again, just go really up close. A little break in that, you can see that little break, just a little bit more pressure. Might be a little bit of tip dry on there. But works. Me personally, I'd sit with this with a 035 in it because that just was really nice with that. But if you want to put a little bit of sort of thicker paint down and get a little bit more coverage, drop the 5mm in. So yeah, I prefer the 0.35 in it. It just seems like a really nice brush. With the 3.5, you've got that real tight detail, and you've got that in between sort of medium spray pattern, and that's where I sort of like to sit. If I'm doing like a portrait or something, I can go in with that tight detail with it, which it does really nice. And then if you want that little bit of broader spray pattern, you've got it in that combo. But then if you want to drop some background down or drop a little bit more paint down, just switch it over to the 0.5 and it will hammer it down. And atomised is nice. So I'll get this cleaned up, packed away, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the Gaahleri. Right guys, my final thoughts on the Gaahleri, the GH8039. Now you've seen in them two spray tests, we used the 0.35 and then I switched up to the 0.5. Now me personally, I think the 0.35 performed incredible, it really did. It got really tight down on the detail. Atomised really nice. You'll find with these, it really flows well with the air, and I think that's something to do with the nozzle design on the front. It handled nice at real low pressure, around 20 with Createx illustration. Drop the pressure down and it just seemed to flow really nice. So I'd hit the sweet spot right with the paint and got the air pressure right, and this thing got seriously down on the little dots and the lines, nice and consistent, so I cannot fault it on spray pattern. The 0.5, you put that in, crank the air pressure up just a little bit more, because you've got sort of like a lot more paint coming out because you've got a bigger needle and nozzle, so just get that air pressure just a little bit higher than 20 and it performs good again. So they're the good points of the brush. I can't fault it on how it sprays. Trigger feels nice, trigger's responsive, absolutely fine. Nice balance and weight in the brush, which is comfortable. You've got your nice scallop here on the bottom, like the Iwaters, they've all got like these little scallops here. So it's a comfortable brush to use. Downsides to the brush, for me, it's the cups. It's just that looseness in the cup when you undo it for me. That's the only thing that puts me off it. I don't like this, where it goes loose just off one turn from tight. You go one turn from tight and then just do that, and then you've got that looseness in the cup. Can be a little bit fiddly if you're a beginner. Like I say, you could probably cross thread this if you're not careful when you're going to locate the cup. When you take it off, you just got a little bit of play. But once you get that on, once you get past that little bit, there's nothing wrong with it. So all in all, for the price of this brush, because I've tried some of the cheap £20 ones, the £23 ones, I think for the price of this, at around £40, you're getting an absolute bargain, guys. And it's a brush that's going to work. I don't know how long they will last, because this is new and it's basically just a spray test out of the box. I'll put it through its paces and do another review on this 6 months down the line, see if there's any things that like wear on it, see if I have to change the Teflon washer on the front or the little O-ring to the nozzle. But apart from that, it gets a thumbs up. So if you are looking for a budget brush to get you going in airbrushing that will get down on the detail if you need it to, as you've seen in that little spray test, and you get your 0.5 for a little bit of coverage, it's worth tipping your fingers into the pond, as I say, and picking a brush up to start you out. It's not a bad brush to get you started out and get you airbrushing. So that's the Gaahleri 39. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Drop your comments, tell me your thoughts. I'll get back to you in the comments. Cheers.